Live. So that probably just kicked off with like the most annoying.
And yep. Um,
I
yeah,
mean,
this is weird.
yeah. Welcome back to a regular show with no Overwatch going on instead,
Yeah,
which makes
I
sense to
mean,
pick this week to do it when they release the biggest patch yet. But
yeah, when there's like stuff to actually look at and talk about, and um, yeah, and it's a patch. It's the first patch in Overwatch where I'm like really like I'm stoked about how the game has changed. Like I like the arcade mode a lot. Like I like
really,
having all those like weird modes available and stuff because like that the mode specifically I like is the one where you get a random hero every time you die, and that was a mode that
jeez.
was available when I first got the game. Like that was the brawl that week,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I think it's a great way to practice characters who you would never try otherwise.
Well, the other
Um,
thing it does is it kind of negates the people that are like troll picking and that kind of stuff because nobody
yeah,
has control over their character.
right, and that's the other thing is like it's such a chiller environment. Like nobody's stressing out. Like if you well, like we lost a game a couple nights ago, and it was just like nobody could be mad because the fucking game gave us like three Winstons and two Symmetras, and it was like you can't be fucking pissed at your team. You're just sort of like this game's retarded. Um, but even like stuff like the duel and shit, like nobody's shitty on there. Like we all kind of like it's a lot more tense to do like the one-on-one mode, but you're only
Man.
accountable to yourself, and
Yeah,
that
and
feels
that
pretty.
one, a lot of the heroes end up being a little gimmicky in the win. Like, I don't know. I liked it. I'm gonna be coughing into the mic all night, by the way. So I guess I should apologize in advance for that. Well, not in advance because I've already done it like 4 times. But anyway, like we got a Reinhardt versus Reinhardt, and those are tend to be like whoever hits the other person first, because his moveset's
Um,
relatively limited.
yeah, I mean, like it's you could catch them with a charge or something, but yeah, I won a duel last night, which felt really cool. But the characters I won with were like McCree, Hanzo, um, trying to remember the other ones, uh, Sombra, which was a really close fight, which is like that's a really scary one-on-one
Yeah.
situation because everybody's going like you're both just going invisible and like throwing your teleporter everywhere and shit. Um, and I can't remember the fifth one I won with, but I won one with some Metro too, which I felt oddly satisfied by
I've been
because
playing
like
more
that's
Symmetra. Like, turns out she's a very valuable character in the right circumstance. Like, if you
yeah.
pick an offensive Symmetra on like a King of the Hill map, I forget what they call those, but well, then you can go to hell. But if you on defense, really is where she helps on a lot of those maps. I guess offense too in situations, but defense big time because a lot of those maps, when you die, you spawn so far back. That's usually what allows the other team to take at least point A
Mhm.
because you just can't get back in time. But if you can get a teleport down and get it in a good spot where it's not going to get
I
discovered,
kind of I think my thing with her is I think her balance as a support is off. I would take away some of her like sentry turret abilities and replace them with a more effective like way to shield your teammates.
yeah, they get a very
Um,
tiny shield, and you can only like it seems you can only shield them once per life. Like even if they lose that shield, I don't know how that
yeah,
works.
well, it's just give me some means to like help my team survive
Right.
with a support. I think every support character should have that ability, and she's kind of the only one that doesn't.
I also feel like her main weapon, I doesn't need to do more damage or anything, but I think it needs like another meter in distance because I feel like you have to be right on top of somebody before you actually hit them. Otherwise, it just kind of
I think they could increase the speed of the charge shot too. Like you wouldn't have to do. too much. Like it would still be a hard shot to land, which I get is kind of the point because it can just go through shit. Um, but I think it would be better if you just like if it were a little bit faster. Because in the duel last night, like we're both charging up these charge shots, and like we don't have a prayer of hitting anything. Like it really turned into this interesting sort of match of like, all right, who can like corral the other guy into their turrets, and like it's eventually I got him on mine, and then it just sort of came down to the wire. I think I had like 10 health by the time I killed him. But yeah, I think there were ways to improve Symmetra. I think they're kind of overthinking it a little bit. Like they don't want to make her a healer, and I understand that, but it's like, well, she's a support. Like that's her role in the game. She has to do more than just be like this like turret teleporter machine.
Yeah.
And I think there are pretty obvious fixes to that. That would like maybe it wouldn't make her that much more popular of a character, but it wouldn't have that immediate like get the fuck off Symmetra so we can actually play, dude. You know, like that fucking.
Well, like I say, like right
her.
now on any like offensive capacity, she's pointless because there's other characters that can do like her turrets. Her turrets aren't even that good. They can be annoying and they can be distracting, but if the point of contention is constantly shifting, like where the battle is, they don't do any good.
Right.
Like the one way I used to view them is, well, you can use them to kind of like if there's a room. I think is it not Watch Point Gibraltar, the one where that's like the big robot factory. That very first point has that like little enclosure where there's a health pack. You could put your turrets in there because you know the enemy, if they get hurt, they're going to be going for that health, and if they're already low, your turrets can finish them off or at least be annoying. But now you have Sombra who can just disable the health pack, so it makes that tactic completely pointless because Sombra's better.
Not only that, make it better for her. Like, right. Turn it off for you, and she'll get it quicker. You know, I think you know a lot of people would say like, well, if she's more effective, that means the teleporter would be more common. And I think the response to that is cut down on the amount of uses a teleporter could do. You know, she would get it more frequently, but then like,
or even if they don't like, do that, make it show up on the enemy team's map so they instantly know where the teleporter is. Like maybe have
maybe that I still think a limited use thing makes the teleporter a little more like. And this is all under the assumption like that she's a better character than she is right now.
Yeah, well, true. But I've been using her a lot more on defense, and she can turn the tide. But she's also one of those ones that I tend to, like I say, I'll use her on the first point for her teleporter to keep my team like constantly at the point. And if we drop that, I tend to switch to a different character.
Yeah, and I can. She would still be sort of situation based, but so is Zenyatta. And my thing is like, you know, she could be more effective, and if she could provide a better shield, a more reliable shield to her teammates, then she could be used in a lot more situations than she currently is.
I feel like something happened to Zenyatta, and he's not as viable as he used to be either. Like I don't. I know they decreased the amount that the Orb of Discord like. It used to boost damage more than it does now. And that's a little thing. I think part of it is I haven't been playing as him, and so my experience is more my teammates, and I've had a lot of really bad teammates on him.
I mean, I played him a little bit, and one of them was the duel, and he did feel a little bit different. He didn't feel as strong as usual, but that's a good thing because I think his, in my opinion, because as much as I like him now, I think his role in a battle is. He shouldn't be the one immediately getting noticed. He shouldn't be the one with like who's dealing the most damage. And the problem is there was a point where he should be picking people off who aren't noticing that. Oh shit, I got discorded, and now that Zenyatta and the rest of the team are going whole hog.
Right. Like there was a lot of characters that he could like basically one shot. I guess it would be more like a two shot, but with that Orb of Discord. So yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. Maybe it's more, but I think that's the problem. Is I keep having teammates pick them and then go purely offensive with them.
Hmm.
I shouldn't be a character with a secondary healing ability and out healing you if you're Zenyatta. But a lot of
Um, I mean, that really depends on the match, I
yeah,
think.
well, and I guess that's not fair because I play a lot of Roadhog, and
Like
Roadhog
I,
does a shitload of healing to himself if you're
yeah, that's
judicious
like
with it. But
I mean, normally I agree, but there are situations where Zenyatta's like his healing orb is pretty limited. That's the trade-off you get with him is that he can wear down the other team, but he's not going to be able to heal you as effectively as the other supports will.
I've noticed a
Um,
lot of people are a lot better with Ana now too. Like
yeah,
she's a
she's
lot of fun
great.
to play as. I Now it's funny though
She's
because
great, and
she's one of those characters. There's a few characters that I like always play as and then completely for like 100% forget about an ability like her sleep dart. I'll go like a whole round and then be like, oh yeah, I can put people to sleep. Like I don't
mhm.
know how I do that, but
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's I've been playing enough of her now that like the sleep dart is saved pretty much exclusively for like, all right, this guy's about to, pop his ult or he's gonna get nano boosted, put him to sleep, and hope like hell your team doesn't wake him up.
right.
Um,
I'm bad
yeah,
about that because I always do it and like as I'm like thinking to myself, like I'll see Anna put somebody to sleep and I'll be like, I'm gonna attack that person because they're sitting still. And it's like, no,
yeah, I'm still I have to fight the urge when I'm not her, where it's like I'll be Lucio and she'll put someone to sleep, and my instinct is like, oh, they're down, kill it, and then like you're just peppering him with
yeah,
Lucio
the
and
like weakest possible
woke up the
attack,
goddamn
right?
nano boosted fucking Reinhardt. Um, but yeah, I think the arcade mode's pretty cool. I like that by playing it, you get like loot boxes easier. Like there's more rewards to playing it. Like the loot boxes come quicker. Because that's
Well,
something I
the
think the game was kind of losing me on a little bit. Was like for really cheap, usually duplicate cosmetic rewards. I feel like you should be getting them a lot quicker.
yeah. Now,
Um,
does that region? Because I noticed, like, I won a one-on-one match. I only played one and I won it, but it had that like, oh, first time reward loot box.
Yeah,
You auto,
first win on certain modes, you'll get a loot box anyway. But then if you get 3 wins, I think on any mode, every 3 wins you get a loot box up to
see, I
three
like
of them,
that.
and then it resets next week.
Okay,
Um,
so
so
most you
you
can
can earn
get's like,
another
yeah,
3.
yeah. I like that because I agree. Like that was one of the reasons I played a lot. Like my play spiked because I did that like you, where you, I guess you want to call it prestige or whatever. You hit 100, and it basically resets your rank, and so it resets the required XP to get to the next rank. So like for the
Yeah,
next 10 ranks, it's awesome because you can play like a game and a half and hit it. And now I'm back to
right.
that point where it takes 4 or 5 rounds um, to and I haven't been playing because you get more XP in ranked, but I'm so
Yeah,
burnt out on ranked. I said something on Twitter the other day, like 3 weeks ago. I was all like hyped because I went through that. Like I had a almost like a 10 win streak. I think it was like 10 wins, 1 loss, and 1 tie. It felt like you
yeah.
couldn't possibly lose, and that's how I finally got up to gold rank, and my SR went as high as it ever been. Since then, and I'm not being sarcastic. I think my record's like 30 or zero, not zero, maybe 1 or 2 wins, 30 losses, and a tie. Like it's been
Mm.
fucking ridiculous. And it's just like
I'm gonna launch the game here real quick and look at our ranks and stuff and
my
see.
SR's
'Cause
down to like 17 again. I was up to 22, almost 23, or maybe
yeah,
23.
you were over me.
Yeah, it's at 17, like 25 or something.
Yeah, I'm at like 21. Get the fuck out of here, Nvidia thing. I'm at 2166, which is about where I've been pretty much since the beginning of this season. Um, let's see
and I don't know
stats.
if it tells you like my last 10 games or anything like that. It's
Yeah,
been
I'm
like
29, 37, and 3. 3 ties. Let's see what you have.
what did you say, 27, 37, and 3 or something?
27, 39, or no, 29, 37, 29 wins, 37 losses, and 3 ties.
Pretty close to 500. Well,
Um,
not, but yeah, I mean, kind of right middle.
Yeah, and I just, I haven't, I honestly have not played very much the last week. I played on Wednesday because I thought we were doing the show. And then, like, the whole stream, I was dealing with technical difficulties. So it's a good thing we didn't do the show. Um, and yeah, just like, I don't think I did any competitive. And it's not like I'm done with competitive. I think I will go back.
I
But there's
definitely
a lot of,
season 3 starts like next week, and I'll be really happy to check out the new ranking system and start over from a blank
yeah.
slate. But
Yeah, so you played almost twice as many games as I have, and you're only 52 wins, 63 losses, and 8 ties.
well, see, that's not that big of a difference in win to loss ratio.
No,
But
that looks pretty good
yet
for
my
what we
SR has
for how good
fucking,
we are.
but my SR is fucking tanked, and
Yeah,
because it's so many losses in a row, and it feels like you lose twice as much rank as you gain if you win.
yeah,
It's
it's really hard to climb the ladder.
But and I've just had a really bad run with teammates. I was talking online the other day about this, like one match we had where I was Roadhog because I'm almost always Roadhog if it fits. There was somebody else's Reinhardt, and we just weren't putting out damage. We weren't getting kills as a team. And then our Lucio switched to Zarya or another tank or Winston or something. And I made the comment kind of sarcastic, which is unusual for me because I'm usually not that person. I usually don't fucking say anything. But I said something about, well, 3 tank strategy, that's interesting. And he quips back. He's like, well, yeah, because none of our tanks will stay on point. I had almost 6 minutes on the objective. Six
yeah,
fucking minutes. And I'm like, that was not the problem, you dumbass. Like, and in
yeah,
fairness, it wasn't his healing either. It's like, but if you're going to switch, do some damn damage. Don't switch to tank. But
yeah. It's
and then I had one of those matches where we were on like El Dorado, and we gave up the first point after like a minute. It wasn't like they steamrolled us, but it was relatively quick. And of course, one of our teammates, or no, it went the other way. We we were on attack first, and we only had like a minute left to get the first point, so it started off kind of sluggish. And one of our teammates dropped, and we ended up almost getting it to the final destination. We were stopped like 3 meters short, and that's down a person. But then
yeah,
when we didn't get it to the final destination going into round 2 on defense, 2 more players dropped. So it's like, oh great, now it's 3 on 6. And that fucking infuriates me because it's like, well, you can drop, you'll still lose rank, but you won't get to. And I'm like, well, if I'm still going to lose rank, fuck it. I'm going to make these people play out this match. But that's
yeah,
infuriating. So just those kind of, just a really bad string of shitty teams.
yeah.
Not that I'm great, but I mean,
Yeah, but it's kind of that thing that just like keeps me out of uh competitive a little bit, where it's just like it's so fucking stressful because you're like when you lose, your fucking rank gets devastated.
well, and then once you
Um,
get down to where I'm at, now I'm being matched because they match you in similar ranks. So now I'm being matched with people that just aren't good,
yeah,
and it makes it that much harder. And again, I don't want to make it sound like, oh, it's all them, and because if I was great, I'd do a lot better. But I'm not terrible.
but yeah, it puts it's kind of the ranking system still seems kind of busted to me, where it's like you're expecting in order to climb the ranks, you have to like just suddenly get on a fucking roll to the point where you can just carry
Any
terrible
team,
teams
right?
after terrible teams.
Or
And it's
and part of that is we don't have a team. We tend to solo queue, or just me and you, or sometimes we have
yeah,
a third person. But it's not like, so we are very much up to
yeah.
at the mercy of who we get paired with.
Yeah, it's kind of weird to think, but like my brother's moving
Hmm.
in December, and when he moves away, I feel like me and him are gonna play Overwatch a lot more.
Yeah, well, it's a way to
Uh,
connect when you're not like
yeah,
seeing
they're
each
like
other.
that's the thing. Like we don't feel like playing with each other very much because it's like he's like down the hallway. If I if I
Right.
want
If you want to
if
talk
I
to
want
him,
to
you
hang
just go,
out if I
"Hey,
want to hang
what's
out with
up?"
my brother, I'll fucking just walk over there and be like, "Hey, scumfuck." Um, But yeah, so that like I'm actually thinking I'll probably get a little bit more into that game again when he moves and he gets settled over there. Just because, well, at least competitive mode. I still play the game, but
Yeah. I
which is
found myself.
remarkable on its own for like how much fucking
See,
depth
you've been
such a
playing,
simple concept can
right,
have.
and you've been playing others. I've still been mostly playing Overwatch. It's just now, especially now that we're close to the end of season 2, I just find myself doing quick play a lot more because it's just
Well, I part of the reason I took a little bit of time off, besides just not feeling up to Overwatch, not feeling up to much of anything these days except sleeping, um, is because I knew they were bringing out the new character, and I knew along with that they were testing a lot of significant changes to how the other characters worked. To the point where I was just like, okay, the more yeah, my aim would probably stay sharp and stuff, but if I keep playing it this way, like I'm going to expect shit to be this way. So when I go back to the game, like I kind of want all these changes to be established, and I'll just sort of start from square one again. Um, because I don't. It's not like I have some fucking high rank that I need to protect. Where you need to like play every day. Those are
yeah.
fucked up ranks. Like if you're like a diamond, I think, like you have to play, otherwise like after a few days like your shit starts to drop, which is like
That's like
thanks.
the kind of the evil like casino type stuff that they do to people, where it's
Yeah,
like, we got your hook, you're screwed.
you're a big winner provided you win $1 million. You can't cash out until it hits 1 million. But yeah, I still an amazing game. I just yeah, you'd be hard pressed to find a game that I could play every day for 2 months, let alone however many months Overwatch has held me.
Yeah, that's the thing with those competitive online. Like I joke about it all the time, but it's not really a joke. There's other games that I have, and I've played a little bit. I've played some Dead Space 2, and just some other things. But most of the time, it's like I sit down and I'm like, I should write, or I should work on my Unity game thing that I was making, or I should play something else. And you sit down and you're like, but it's so much easier and like just as
Just
rewarding.
pop
Just
open.
like
Yeah, and I mean that's why this show as a podcast kind of went away, is like not just because Overwatch is a great game and I had a lot of fun playing it with you. Um, I think there was a real part of me that was just like I didn't want to do a video game podcast. I didn't want to write. That's obvious for anybody who's followed the site. It just I got kind of in a headspace that I haven't been in like about 5 years, where it's like what would it be like to just like play fucking video games and just sort of enjoy them, and not always like worry about like, well, what am I going to write about?
ludonarrative dissonance. I mean,
You're right. It was kind of nice, but it's also, I also sort of realized that there's a part of my brain that doesn't turn that shit off, and I still tend to like overthink video
you're sitting
games.
here like talking to your cat, like
Yeah, basically, just like, but do you see this? Like, why did they make this decision? Like, because it really just it gets in the way of the narrative. And the fucking cat's like, I have fleas, man. I don't care.
yeah, yeah. You were battling those too, and it makes that hard to do a show. And like,
Yeah, that fucking fuck fleas, man. I've never had them before. Like, you typically don't get them in Washington, at least nowhere where I've lived. Um,
global
and
warming.
then
Things are moving up farther north than they used to.
maybe our theory, well, my mom's theory is like our laundry machine broke down, so we had to go to the laundromat to do all of our fucking washing and shit, and we think we might have picked them up there.
Yeah.
Which is possible. But fuck, man, that's
Don't tell me that, because my washer's been broken forever, and we've been going to the laundromat too. Now the rest of the show, fleas are one of those things you just mentioned, and for the rest of the show, I'm going to be sitting here like itching because
I've been itching for 2 weeks.
yeah,
It's like, and I know, I don't know they're gone, but I know they're not on me. But you just going to bed at night, you just swear they're everywhere.
yep.
It is the worst fucking thing. Like, because it never, you immediately have to do shit about them when you realize you have fleas. So imagine how shitty it is when it's like the middle of the night and you realize, fuck, we have to give these dogs like flea baths. We have to vacuum fucking everything, wash all of our sheets and stuff. We have to go to the store, get goddamn flea spray, and and the shitty thing about all that is you do all that and you have no idea if it works.
Right. Because they find like one place. I know I've told you about it, and we probably talked about it back when because it was a couple years ago, but we had where our dogs got fleas really bad. They usually get them a little bit because here in Ohio, I mean, they're just everywhere. But they got them really bad, and we would treat the dogs, and we would spray, and we even bug bombed a couple times. But they wouldn't go away, and we literally had to every piece of fabric in our house, like sheets, towels, draperies, of course, all your clothes. We had to grab it all up at the same damn time and take it to the laundromat so we could wash it at the same time. Because you couldn't, if you washed one thing and then did the next, well, then
they'd just jump onto the clean thing.
So we spent almost $100. I think it was $80 some at the laundromat while we bombed the house back at home and treated the dogs all in the same day. And then finally that got rid of them. But we always have problems with ants, and I hate ants almost more than anything, but fleas are worse because ants at least don't bite.
Yeah, you see an ant, you fucking kill the ant.
It's not jumping on you and biting you and making you itch. They might...
And there's like no fear of the unknown with an ant. Like to me, it's like I look at places in my house and I'm like, they could be there, and I have to like resist the urge to be like, look. Like what you want to do is immediately pull the vacuum out and fucking start doing everything all over again, and you're just like, you have to remind yourself like, look, there is poison fucking everywhere in this house. It should kill them. You don't have to like be fucking stressed out and tense about this shit. So yeah, that's been pretty much what I've been dealing with for 2 weeks. It beats fucking working. We'll say that.
Sort of, except you don't get paid for it, and that's the one silver lining of working is being paid.
True, but you know what? Money ain't everything. At this point, I missed the paycheck, but I don't even know if that place was still open, I could go back.
Right, you're like, I missed the paycheck, but was it really worth it all along? Like,
fuck no. I was at Target yesterday, just picking some things up, and one of those things like they put on the shelves, like one of those signs that like, hey, there's a discount on all this shit. Like that sign just like popped off the shelf and fell on the floor, and like I had to like catch myself because I was immediately trying to replace it, and I was like, you know what, fuck this, I don't work retail anymore.
See, that's always my my personality too. It's like, well, if I'm the one that knocked it off, maybe, but
well, I mean, technically I was the one who knocked it off, but that was because it wasn't fucking put in right in the first place.
Yeah, it's on you, Target.
And I am not.
This is America. You should have sued for that.
I'm enough of a hypocrite to be like, I will bitch about. I probably did bitch about it when I worked at Hastings. Rest in peace.
You can finally mention them because they don't exist anymore, so it's not like
the parent company does, but I'm not going to work for fucking them either. So yeah,
you say next week we're going to open and find out that the parent company is our new sponsor. I'll be like, son of a bitch.
If you send me an email saying that was on the table, I would advise you against it.
Yes.
Because they will find a way to somehow make us go bankrupt.
Well, I'm almost there already. That wouldn't be real hard, but
yeah, they would do something stupid. It's like, you guys need to talk about these novelty Donald Trump T-shirts. But yeah, I'm glad I don't work there anymore. Hey, if you shopped at Hastings and you liked it, sorry, but it was a terribly ran business. The people I worked with were cool, but
well, I mean, they hired you, so that should say a lot about the company itself, right?
That's a very good point. No, I was a good employee.
I know you were probably one of the better ones from the stories that I've heard.
No,
But
because on the like the last day, the day we closed was a Thursday, and that was a crazy day of like everybody just had to be up front and checking people out, and people are coming up with multiple carts of stuff because they're going to resell it. But I was the only non-manager they had come in the Friday after to help with cleanup and stuff. Which
just out of the goodness of your
on
own
what?
heart,
Well, yeah, I mean, I got paid for it, but it was
but
like
mostly goodness.
no. If anything, I would have rather have been done on Thursday, but they, they thought that was, they saw me in that role that I was essential enough because that's the way the manager put it is like essential staff on Friday. And it's
Or
like,
they thought you were the one that might burn the place down so they could cash out on the insurance check. That's what it was.
or more likely, I did not ask for nearly enough money for what I did for that fucking place. And they were like, "Fuck, dude, we only have to pay him fucking $980.
Right.
Yeah, bring him in the last day." So yeah, I haven't. I'm surprised I never mentioned the name of the place.
I think you slipped up like once, and we just kind of shrugged it off because.
Well, I tried not to because you never know with companies.
Yeah, I
like,
mean,
when
I
they're
do
gonna
that too. I mean, you'll notice I'll talk about where I work on Twitter, and I'll talk about, but I try very hard not to mention the specific place, not because I bad talk it, but because you just never.
Yeah, you just don't want shit getting back to people,
Right.
and it's very possible that my shit gets back to somebody.
I could see the
but now I
CEO
don't
of
care.
my company being like, "Wait, he works for us, and he liked Skyward Sword. Fuck it, he's fired."
No, that's if I'm in charge. That's how I would interview employees. Like, so how do you feel about this Zelda and this
Well,
Zelda?
and you got to set up a trap too. Be like, let them know that you're very enthusiastic about Zelda, because you're also looking for those people that just like kiss your ass or are yes men to begin with. Be like, "Oh man, Zelda's pretty great. What do you think of it?" And they'll be like, "Yeah, it's great." And you're like, "Yeah, what do you think of Skyward Sword?" And you got to say it all enthusiastic. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, I loved it." Be like, "Wrong. Get the fuck
No,
out of my office."
I would put two games up. I would be like, so what do you think about Skyward Sword and what do you think about A Link to the Past? And they would say like the obvious thing, somebody would be like, oh, A Link to the Past is better, and I'd be like, they're both overrated.
Get out. But you got to turn instantly like infuriated, like face red, shaking, like stand up, pointing at the door, like get out of my office now.
Get the fuck out.
Just start like throwing stuff off your desk.
He's already left. I'm still yelling for 15 minutes.
But see, that's it's both funny and a way to make sure they don't sue you for like hiring practices because they'll think, "Fuck, that guy was crazy. I'm glad I didn't get this job."
Yeah, I do that. I yell at people equally,
All right.
and that's why no one works for me.
I think our show
But
would
I
get a
haven't-
lot more viewers if we were like that. We were just like cussing each other out the whole time. Unfortunately, our opinions mostly mesh up. Not always, but mostly.
I've been thinking about that. There's a podcast I've been listening to that I'm not going to say the name of it because I'm ashamed of listening to it.
Alt-right
But
Weekly.
but their whole like thing is like, man, all these podcast people get along and it's fucking bullshit, man. It's just a bunch of yes men. But then you realize hearing like three fucking internet obsessed assholes
It's
just
not pleasant.
bicker about their popularity
Yeah.
and like whether or not one of them is a liar this week or not is just like, it's not that entertaining. Like, it's not that much more entertaining than any other gaming podcast I listen to where people are talking about what they like about a game. I think there's something to be said about podcasts like about forcing it. Like,
Yeah,
you
well,
shouldn't
yeah,
force agreement and you shouldn't force disagreement.
I mean, if you've ever read, and I know, I'm pretty sure you have. I always say no, you haven't. I've read about like entertainers and what it's like to be an actual entertainer because I don't consider myself that. A real entertainer wouldn't cough into the.
That's the only thing I consider myself.
Yeah, but
Only
I mean,
thing
any of these popular like TV personalities or podcast. The biggest number one advice is to be yourself. If you try to force a character, it doesn't work.
Yeah, it's like there's this weird like pressure I think people have to like they need to be a persona. So like I can't be I can't be Ben Matlock. I have to be Ben Star, you know.
I like that though. I'm gonna call you that from now on.
I probably exposed what I was listening to somebody,
See,
but um,
the of course that be yourself advice works way better when you're not like a boring generic person like I am. But
well, don't necessarily be yourself, but don't be that like radio personality.
hey,
Like there is a showmanship to this type of stuff, and we don't have any. That's why we're in the fucking toilet. But
you know, now that
like
you say that, to interrupt, if we do the show next week from the toilet, that could be our hook.
that might not work out. Apparently, the fucking my toilet backed up, so
Oh, it wouldn't make
might
the
be
show any
broken.
shittier. Dun.
Yeah.
Hey,
That's a
hey.
good point. But just
Anyway,
like that fucking like, hey everybody, welcome to the show. Like that like
the ones that get me are this like
obnoxiously
thing, and we've talked about it, like the false anger video game guys, like how you have to be mad and yelling about everything, and beard and
well
fedora
like
too, because that work fits.
yeah, like well that's weird because they took a lot from like the angry video game nerd, but they
Yeah,
didn't take the fact that the angry video game nerd is a work of fiction. Like
yeah, and he's actually funny
that's not
and good at writing his bits, but
like yeah, and like that's not his personality. There's aspects of his personality in the character, but he made a character out of it. You know, like he wasn't just. It didn't start when he was like, you know what, I'm gonna wear a fucking pocket protector and review these games, and that'll be
right,
my genuine opinion. He did it to make his friends laugh.
right.
And so like seeing like all these weird YouTube channels where it's like, you know, the angry. I'm angry Greg rant, you know, like what the fuck? It's
Screaming
the same.
Joe.
I'm screaming Joe. Um, but I actually, in sort of our time away from doing a proper show, I've stumbled upon a lot of different styles of like, it's weird. There's a bunch of different styles to doing like YouTube gaming channels, but they all seem to be ripping each other off. So it's like, there's the, you know, just the rant, which is just over like somebody will just have Overwatch gameplay for 10 minutes while they rant about something completely unrelated. Or you get the great fucking 2 hour lecture video, which is like gonna tell you why Dark Souls 3 is fucking shit. And because you can have a shield and that's bullshit.
Yeah, and in real medieval olden times when they were fighting the darkness, they didn't have shields.
Yeah, and it's like I kind of I like podcasts and stuff. Like I like playing games with like something that like I know like okay, this thing I'm listening to that's gonna last 2 hours, and I can just listen to that and kind of, you know, half pay attention to that, half pay attention to whatever I'm playing. But yeah, I think there's something to be said, like all these channels like getting like really successful off that just being their regular content. Because like to me, it's like that's really fucking lazy. Like it's not really a video.
Yeah, it's
not
still more
really
than I can do. Like, yeah, but no, yeah, I get it.
you know. Well, I feel like you know, if you want to do a podcast, do a podcast. But you know, and I think that's why they don't, is because a podcast, if you just did that every fucking week, like you would probably have views like ours.
What are you talking about? Our ratings are through the roof. We've got the best ratings. Our ratings are, I don't know.
Yeah.
We
After
just
5 years,
live.
we have 5 views in total.
I was trying to like emulate the Trump speech, but after like 5 months of being subjected to nothing but that, I still can't get that like vernacular down. But
Yeah, I don't even try a Trump impression. My Trump impression's like, oh, I'm an asshole. That's my Trump. Anyway, you're right, I have been playing other stuff.
yes, and some interesting sounding stuff.
I played Owlboy.
And that's one that, like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, that's one that Ben will probably want to play. I've given up on saying that's one that Ben will like because I'm always way the fuck off anytime I try to guess on
Yeah.
that, but
Yeah, it's I'm surprised I hadn't heard of the game, considering I think it's been in development for like 8 years
yeah,
or something like
forever.
that. And everybody just seemed to sort of know about it. And then the game came out, and it's a little surprising. It still, like, you know, it's an impressive game. But I'm still a little surprised it took that long, considering it's not that long of a game. Um,
Yeah, and I don't
but
know
it's
what the story is about, like how many people were working on it, and if it was like a
yeah,
after work project, like in their
yeah, it
spare
might have been
time.
a troubled development thing. I will say, they didn't slack on
Well,
like the
the
detail of
developers
that
made
game.
another. Isn't this sort of second game though from these people? Uh,
Yeah,
we're both
D-pad
sitting at
studio.
computers, but I'll just ask the question out into the void instead of Google. I'm really
Like,
bad at that. I'm that kind of person that'll ask something on Twitter that could be answered on Google like in 2 seconds.
Savant, wait, I think yeah, it looks like they made like 3 games:
Yeah.
Owlboy, Savant Ascent, and Vikings on Trampolines.
Which I don't know what that is, but that's one of those phrases you hear and you just kind of want to know more. But
Sure. Um,
oh,
well, no,
Vikings on Trap.
I guess
That
they're
one's
making
coming.
that now.
Yeah, that one says release date after Owlboy.
Yeah.
But
So,
anyway,
but yeah, Owlboy. I really like that game. It's kind of exploration, part shooter. I mean, it's weird to say platformer because you fly everywhere, for the most part. But there is some aspect of like that same sort of like navigation, like how do you get through certain areas. But yeah, it's there's a little bit of a Zelda vibe to it, in that you kind of go from you as the world opens up, you find dungeons along the ways, and yeah, like it's a fucking good game. It's just it's one of those games that I think will leave kind of a bad taste in your mouth. So I wasn't surprised to see a little more negative reviews than kind of that initial reception, like this is beautiful and amazing. Because the game does weird shit that near the end that I was like kind of like the whole game you fly and you get these upgrades for like your party, like instead of like you having any offensive abilities really. You can spin as Owlboy, but what you do is you carry these characters and they have different weapons. And they sort of are your friends are your weapons there.
I like that
Yeah,
idea.
that's the tag.
Yeah.
But then at the last level of the game, they just sort of take all of that away, and then it just becomes a basic platformer. I thought that was a really questionable decision because I tend to think, like, I get what they were going for, and I guess I could understand why people would be impressed. Like, man, you rely on all these things. What do you do when the game takes them away? Well, you jump. That's all you do.
Yeah, it sounds like it's
Uh,
one of those things where there's kind of supposed to be some like meaning to it or deeper meaning or something to do with the story, but it just in reality it just leaves you as a player that's like, yeah, now I just can't.
it's not even that deep to the story. You go up into space, so you can't fly anymore. Um, that's a spoiler. But
Damn it, Ben!
like
Get out of my
it's
office.
not really space. You're just so high up in the air. The air is thin, and you can't fly. And then for some random reason, you can fly again. Like, of course, you'll get it back, but
You adapt.
uh,
It's called
but
evolution.
it's like one of those games where like there's coins scattered throughout the world, and it's like a bit of a collectathon. And like I enjoyed that stuff. Like I enjoyed trying to find every coin, and eventually I did. And when you do, you get like this really good upgrade. But by the time you're ready to get that upgrade, you like you're already like you're at the end of the game. So this upgrade that helps you fly better doesn't mean anything because the last level you just sort of jump and like you don't have your fly ability anymore. Um, But the last boss I thought was like it wasn't as tough as some of the other fights in the game, but I thought it was really clever. Because I wasn't sure what to do at first, and then when I realized it, I felt kind of smart. Um,
It's
but
funny
there's
because
also
whenever you say something like that, talking about a video game, you feel dumb, but I get exactly what you're
yeah,
like.
it's like when you think about it in retrospect, like that's obvious. I should have fucking known that at first. But when you're playing it and you've died 3 times, and you're like, how the fuck do I do this? And then like you like realize what the pattern is or something. It's a really satisfying feeling, provided you're completely alone and nobody knows how fucking dumb you are. Um, but there was also one like mini game that I thought was really like to get all the collectibles, you have to do this mini game where you're like your character's launched out of a cannon, and then like he sort of like arcs around, and you have to sort of guide his descent with like gliding and stuff, and you have to go through all these rings, and it is one of the fucking like just dumb
Best. Oh,
challenging
dumb.
things
Yeah.
I've ever had to do in a game. Specifically because this game's been in development this long. These fucking guys should know about Super Meat Boy by now. If you're gonna have something that's really tough, that shit needs to be snappy to
Yeah.
retry. Because every time you fail, the screen has to fade back to the starting point. You have to jump, like you have to actually jump, fly up to the cannon again, launch yourself out of the cannon, watch the whole animation of you going up the fucking shot, and then arcing back down, and you have to do it all again. And you have to get everything, you have to have a fucking perfect run. And you know, like I did it because I suck, and somebody's crashing shit downstairs.
Oh, that was
Um,
me. Sorry.
Steve's breaking and entering. You picked the right time. I would not be paying attention to the rest of the house at this point.
You go
Uh,
downstairs and like literally everything is gone. You're just like, huh, that's weird.
my fucking brother's asleep. It's just he's like, oh shit, sorry. Um, but like, why not have just like an instant restart at the top of the
Yeah.
thing?
Like just
Like, I
as you're coming out of the can. Well, I guess you said there was even a yeah. I agree. Anything that there's a high probability that you're going to have to retry multiple times, make it quick to get back into the action.
yeah, it's. Yeah, I can't emphasize it enough because as great of a game as Owlboy is, that shit sucked. Like
Yeah.
that was just like and the challenge is not even like that bad. Like it was satisfying to pull it off, but having to like go through all these little fucking steps to like get back to it is just it's unnecessary.
It was always
Um,
like, say, an old NES game, some of them were bad about, where if you die in the boss room, it starts you back like 2 rooms back, but the room in the middle is empty. And it's like, why are you making me transition through like 3 screens to get back?
right.
It's superfluous, and all it does is slow the player down. It's frustrating.
Yeah. But it is very good. I think it's $25. It's on Steam and GOG and all that shit. So I recommend it. Probably won't write about it. So
Yeah. No need. You
so
talked
you
about it
you
now. That's the thing. It's
you heard
easy
it
to
here.
digest. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
Dishonored 2, you've been playing that as well, but I haven't seen you talking about that as much.
yeah, because it is a little busted.
Uh,
I got it on PC. Initially, like the first area, like the first mission, which is kind of it's not quite a tutorial. You like, there's a separate tutorial you do. That's optional at the start screen. But the first mission you do before you kind of get out into the world, um, it ran fine. So I was kind of like, well, that's weird. Everybody's saying it doesn't run that great. But it seems okay for me. Then you get to kind of the real town, and shit gets a little rough. Like that, because that first mission, I could run it on my computer. My computer's not that great, but I could run it all on high, and everything worked okay. And then now that I'm in like the actual town, I have to knock everything down to medium, and it's still like it's not unplayable, but the frame rate is just really like spiky and just
yeah,
like
then that just pulls you out of it.
Yeah, and I heard it gets better. Like it's something with the open world. Um, Once I got into like the next mission, it's been playing okay, but they're supposed to have a patch out this week.
I was going to say, it
So
sounded like when I was reading about it, it sounds like something that it's not just like it's not like a performance. Oh, your computer can't handle it. It's like there's an actual bug in there that they should be able to address. So hopefully that'll
yeah,
help.
like I hit the minimum specs, but obviously the like recommended is a lot higher than what I got. So I don't expect to be running like I didn't expect to be running everything on high. I assumed it would be around medium, but like for some reason, like I have a NVIDIA card and like its program always wants to optimize everything. And like its optimization settings for this is like fucking, it's basically unplayable. Like they want everything on fucking low, everything turned off. It's like, yeah, yeah, all right, Dishonored 2 will be played by stick figures. Um,
Although that could be cool.
yeah, but I also don't want to spend, 50 fucking bucks for that. Um, so it plays. It's not unplayable, but I've just sort of been waiting for that next patch. Um, yeah, from the sounds of it, they like it's kind of that weird mixed message of like they kind of sound like, well, we know it's fucked up, we know we need to fix it, but they also suggest shit that like, why are you suggesting this if you know it's fucked up? Where it's like, well, don't alt tab for out of the game for anything, and to turn down all your settings and make sure no background programs are running. And it's like, but it just doesn't work.
Yeah, well, I
So
mean, they're just trying to give you ways to mitigate it until they get it fixed. It sounds like, but
yeah, but it's also kind of just. I mean, I understand that, but it's also what nobody wants to hear.
yeah.
When
Well,
something's fucking broke, they don't want to
we had
fucking hear that shit.
There was something wrong with our internet this weekend. It's Time Warner. I can't stand them, but it was doing that. It was spiking all over the fucking place, and it wasn't just like playing Overwatch. It was I could run speed test, and my overall speed. Well, the first time I ran it, my overall speed was like zero point 0.8 megabits or whatever down, and it's like no. So I reset my modem and everything, and then it would get back up to like, because I get like 60. It's awesome fast when it's running, but it would be like 60 for about 3 seconds, then drop to nothing, and then go right back up and then drop to nothing. But that certain things, like if I'm downloading something, it doesn't affect it that much. But if you're trying to play a game or we were trying to watch Amazon or Netflix or something on our TV,
And that's just
and
impossible.
yeah, it fucking kills it because it's constantly buffering then because it can't tell what speed things are coming down. And so I complained about them on Twitter, which is the first step anytime you need customer service. And they always do this. They're like, "Oh, we're sorry to hear that. Have you tried these steps?" And if you click their link, it's literally make sure your modem's
Same
plugged in.
fucking
There's
yeah.
2 steps. Make sure your modem's plugged in and everything's connected. It's like, "Oh, really?" And then the second step
Yeah.
is reset your modem. I'm like, I've done that 8 fucking times. And it's like, your problem should be fixed. It's like, it's not. It's your service. But,
If your problem's not fixed, we don't know. Don't call
right.
us. Leave us alone.
And if you
Um,
call them, it's just like, well, we can send a technician out in 2 weeks. And it's like, I just need you to tell me if there's something fucking going on with your service. And it was because it cleared up about a day and a half later. But
yeah, Comcast was always that way.
they act like, we don't have any service outages. It's like bullshit. But
Yeah,
just
but I
be
mean,
upfront with
Comcast
me.
lately has been more reliable than
Yeah.
it sounds like Time Warner is.
It's going the other way. At a time where for years we didn't really have any big problem. Every service is going to go down from time to time, but now it seems more frequent, and it was just frustrating and it was funny because I had just made the comment on it was like Sunday morning or Saturday morning it started, and I was like, man, I really should do something other than Overwatch, but that's all I do. And I played Overwatch, and I got like 2 or 3 matches in fine before it started happening, and then it was just you couldn't play. It was
Yeah.
yeah. But that's neither here. You just reminded me of that with like the troubleshooting stuff because it just that really I had to like bite my tongue from like being one of those people on Twitter that's being irrationally upset. But it's like, yes, I've tried resetting my modem. I'm not a moron.
Yeah, and it's just kind of that thing of like, if you're odds are if you're playing a game on your PC, like yeah, I'm a fucking I am not PC gaming savvy hardly at all. But you're not telling me anything I don't already know that
Right.
could help a game run better.
And it,
It's like these were the first things I tried to
right. It's
get a
like,
smoother frame rate.
and don't call it a guide if the guide consists of closed background programs. Like, no shit.
Yeah. Yeah, the time you were writing this, you could be, making up that batch. You
Right.
know?
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where it's like you're still nervous about the patch because it's like, well, yeah, they might patch it, but it might be one of those things like, well, fuck it, we patched it, we're done.
Or,
You
oh,
know,
we've determined we can't fix this. Good luck.
like that was kind of what I think that's kind of what happened to like the BioShock remasters
Yeah.
on PC because you got those for free. So like if you had the original games, so they had no incentive really to like make that better. So it was just sort of like, well, we patched it, fuck you, bye.
Yeah.
Um, it's and I'm kind of worried that like the Skyrim remaster might get that treatment. It's like, well, we fixed the audio stuff. Well, it's still crashing. Well, fuck you.
Yep. Good
You
luck.
know. And it's really funny to me, like all the people like, why does this? Like I played some of the special edition and for Skyrim, and I thought it looked pretty good. But it's funny to me, all these people like, why is it like all these mods like the game, like my base game looks better. Like what? Like all you did was add fucking dynamic god rays and made the water shiny, and it's like I already have mods that can do that.
That's why, well, the special edition, it was kind of funny to me on PC. It's like they had to bring it almost because, people would have complained. But it was the most unnecessary release on PC. It's really for the consoles that didn't have the mods.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I mean, I bought the game just before the special edition came out.
I should
just
have because
so
it went on sale, and that's probably the last time it'll be on sale for a while since they just released special edition.
Yeah.
But I've
now-
been
so
really
now I have-
wanting to replay Skyrim. That's like one of my to-do.
Well, I never played the DLC for it, so that's like I want to play the Dragonborn one because I think that's in Solstheim, which was a Morrowind area, and Morrowind is the best. But then like, so I have Skyrim, and like last night I was like, I had the special edition installed because I tested everything out, and I'm just like, why? Like, I was impressed by my time with it. Like, I'm kind of impressed how accessible that game feels still. Like, it feels natural.
Yeah.
And when you're alone in that world, it looks great. When you're just exploring and you're, surrounded by all the wilderness and stuff, like they did a good job. But then somebody shows up, and it's that same sort of like the people did not get much treatment visually. So it's
And
just these
Bethesda's
weird sort
always
of
been like terrible with people models.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
yeah. So you get the Bethesda doll come up
Right.
to you and like, excuse me, stranger, I have a quest. And they just have like their fucking hollow eyes and
I like to think that back in like the actual like medieval period, that's how people talk to each other. Like if you were a traveler and you got to a town, the first thing they'd be like, "Welcome, traveler. I have a quest." Like,
you can just always make your living based off random shit on a
Yeah.
board in the middle of town.
or people just coming up to you in the streets like, "I need you to slay 4 wolves," and you're like, "Cool, I can do that."
Everything, like all fucking towns are like a goddamn horse ride away. Man, that would be the shit. Like instead of like having to work retail all your fucking life,
Yeah, like to be an actual. question.
die really
You know what?
early because you pick
I-
a fight with a griffin and
Yeah, I mean, like, I was too low. Like your dying words are, "I knew I wasn't leveled enough."
when do I level up? When do I get a perk?
But see, now I'm thinking you got the wheels spinning, and we'll give away another great idea like we always. If nothing else, people should tune into our show every week to get these like
Free
$1 million
ideas.
ideas that we're just too lazy to actually follow up on. But
Or
like,
not talented enough.
or yeah, just or don't have the means. But that's what. There's so many ridiculous like reality TV shows out there. Why isn't there one about a couple of guys that literally go around in modern day like questing, just like every week you go to a different town and try to find somebody that has a quest for you. Like that's
Yeah.
your living. You're basically it'd be like a mercenary, but you're not killing people. At least not on
Yeah.
camera because that would, be evidence. But
Yeah. I would, if I lived in those times, I would like take advantage of people's like paranoia and shit and like just convince them I'm hunting ghosts.
well,
Like,
that's
what
it.
a fucking great job.
Yeah, yeah. I
Like,
mean, it'd be so easy. Be like, oh, 3 of your 8 children died, which is pretty much average for this time period. Obviously, there's an evil spirit at work.
yeah, I just think about like all those like Witcher 3 quests and just like imagine if you just like in a time like that, you just told people, yeah, I killed him. See
Yeah,
this? This is its head. You don't want to look at it because I fucking hit it with a hammer. You know,
and if you're
it's
going back in time, you could just get animals from other areas that they've never been, like
yeah,
Australia. Be like,
yeah. Just chop off a random claw and
this is
say, yeah, I
obviously a
fucking
griffin
killed the
claw,
shit out of that.
right?
Yeah, I killed the fuck out of that guffle ghoul. You know? Oh, you've never heard of a guffle ghoul? They're bad shit.
Problem
You're lucky
is,
I came in time.
I'd get away with it until that like night when I'm bored and I whip out my 3DS and they declare me a witch and burn me. But
I would just pretend everything's like you throw some random shit in the fire to make it all smoky and just be like that lures them in, you know. So I'm gonna play 3DS and you don't want to be here when it comes, so I
right.
get out of here. But yeah, that's the problem. I have a lot of great scams, but they're always in the wrong time or in the wrong universe.
Uh,
Um,
Time scammer. See that sounds like a sci-fi reality show though. Time scammer.
Shiffy. Trying to think, what else have I done? I'm
Now,
playing NBA 2K again,
eh,
trying to get my character in an MVP season,
you on
which will
the
probably blow up in my face.
you on
But
the Clippers yet? Do
no,
you do that where you let yourself get drafted and you just go with whatever team like you get?
yeah.
Yeah.
I got drafted by the Bulls, and now I'm in my third year with them,
That's how I
which is
am.
my
Like,
last year of my deal.
I used to be always tempted to put my because most of the time those games you can either create a character on a team so you're just on that team, or like do the career mode where you get drafted and stuff. And as tempting as it is to always want to be on my team, so it's
Yeah.
more interesting to actually like go through the draft and then maybe get traded and that
Yeah,
kind of stuff.
yeah, like if you don't have a say in it, like that's. I wish this game's career mode was a little more detailed, and like I wished all the fucking Spike Lee shit was never in it to begin with. Like I wish it wasn't so story driven. I wish it
Yeah.
was more the details of like being on a team, like what your role on that team is, because it would be a lot more interesting than what my spot is, which is like the team still sees my character as like just a way to like I'm just cap space. But I am always getting double doubles every night. I won the starting point guard spot. I am fucking elite. I'm on track to be the MVP of the year, and they are not thinking about giving me a fucking deal or trading me to like I wish there was more of that reality to
Yeah,
it.
like if all of a sudden you come out the gates and you're like MVP rookie of the, there should be all that hype around it, and like all of a sudden your team's like
Yeah, it's
tripping
hard
over
be
themselves to
rookie
sign
of
you,
the-
and yeah,
Because like that's one thing I did like was like when you're a rookie, they don't play you that much.
well,
Like
yeah,
you come off the bench at certain times, and you have to make the most of that time. And because I was on the Bulls, of course, everybody got fucking hurt, so I got an opportunity to start pretty quickly, and I made the most of it. But the game still sees you as a rookie, and so the game's teams all see you in that role, and it's like, no, I'm a fucking star. Like, I'm playing really well. Like the worst game I had of the season, I played last night, and I still got 25 points and 19 assists. It's like that's insane, but not as interesting as some of the other games I played. So. But it's a good, like, I don't like that game, but I like that mode a lot. So it's a good, like, comfort sort of, like, well, I have nothing to do. I'll play NBA.
yeah.
Like, it kind of took over Overwatch. because in NBA nobody yells at me, and I can yell without worrying about anything.
Why'd you pick point guard? We needed a point guard's the only position I know in basketball, so that didn't work.
Point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and center. Those are the positions.
Mm-hmm. You could tell I'm a basketball guy.
You should be. They're the one team that will get you a fucking championship, apparently.
Yeah. Fucking Indians.
I don't think we talked about the World Series.
Not too much.
Nor should we.
No, I don't think we had a show since then.
Yeah.
No, I was laughing because last week, I mean, it is what it is. Yeah, it's a funny thing about sports. You get so invested, and win or lose, like had the Indians won, it would have been like the greatest night in your life, and then the next day everything's the exact same as it was the day before. Like nothing's really changed. Yeah. And so it's the same if you lose, but it was one of those. Of course, I was disappointed. And it was hard. It was a hard World Series as an Indians fan because with the Cubs and their story, and understandably, you're either an Indians fan or the rest of the world is rooting against you. Like literally, everybody else wanted unless you were like a White Sox fan.
Not over here. Me and all my friends were rooting for the Indians just because. Look, Chief Wahoo, we know he's bad. We know he's going away because he is a fucking caricature of a minority, and that's fucked up. But he's hilarious, and I wanted him to have a World Series before he goes. Like, I loved that they were wearing those uniforms the whole series because it was just the biggest, like, and it seemed like every time they would go to like they would show a Indians player's uniform, it looked like that patch on the side of their arm was just always getting bigger and just like hypnotizing me.
Yeah, but the Cubs, them winning, it's a good story, and that's what I said. Like afterwards, it's like if the Indians were going to have to lose in extra innings in Game 7 again, because if you remember, I lived through this in '97 with Florida in the Cleveland in the World Series. They can't just like lose easy. They have to get your hopes up and then drag it out and then lose in extra innings. But anybody else, it would have been completely devastating. It's like the Cubs, it's like, well, it's a good story. I can't hold it against them. And then last week, Ben Zobrist was on Conan. We were watching Conan. And he walks out, and I'm just like, oh, there's that asshole. I can't stand this jerk. He's literally to the point that my wife changed the channel because she was annoyed that I couldn't like not make fun of him every 2 seconds. I'm like, I guess I'm not over it like I thought I was, but...
No, I love Ben Zobrist. I was so relieved when he won the MVP. I was... Because I wanted Ben Zobrist on the A's for years, and then the A's got him, and then they sucked, so they basically had to trade him because
it was, and that's the funny thing. It's like he seems like a perfectly great guy. He played amazing. Like there's no reason to hate him except for he played for the team that beat my team. Yeah, it's like, well, fucker.
That's the only thing that really hurts about the Cubs winning that World Series is that was basically what the A's team could have been. We traded so much to the fucking Cubs over the years.
It's your guys' fault, you jerks.
Pretty much.
Well, I think what made it kind of sting is it's like the Cubs, the way they're looking, they'll be back in the playoffs at least, if not the World Series, like at least again in the next like 2 to 3 years, probably multiple times. Like they're going to be the team to beat.
I don't know. Baseball's so fucking unpredictable to me.
And that's what everybody was saying because they're like, oh, well, don't worry, the Indians, they're poised. Two of our best pitchers were out like the whole second half of the season. Like, you didn't even have those guys. I'm like, yeah, but it's such a fluke to even make it to the World Series. I mean,
yeah,
you can be the best team. You're not guaranteed to get through the other teams in the playoff or even get to the playoffs. But
yeah,
so it's
I mean, look at the Mets. Like,
right. So it's not. I'm not sitting here like thinking at least there's a good chance we'll be back next year. I was like, well, fuck, that was our one chance. Maybe again in 10, 20... It was almost 20 years since the last time I got to watch my team in a World Series, but...
Yeah. Anyway, let's get off the ball talk, because I'm getting aroused. Video game news. We didn't talk about the Nintendo Switch much, did we?
No, I don't think so.
What do you think?
I don't. It's interesting if it can pull off what it. Because you got to keep in mind, it was real easy to get excited at the on the reveal trailer. And some of it was kind of corny too, but it looked pretty cool. But it was all like that concept, like this is the thing that we're trying to make. Like none of it was the actual Switch in action. But if it can,
Well, I mean, they always do that too. They always
oh
that's
sure,
how they reveal shit. It's like they did it with the Wii and the Wii U. It's like a bunch of people at a party and like we're eating dip off the Wii U tablet. You know, like it's they rarely show like how it actually will be. But
man, you need to not make me laugh. That makes me cough. But anyway, yeah. But the thing that what my point is to keep in mind is like we need to kind of temper some of our expectations until they can prove that what it can actually do. And I've got concerns. I think the same concern. By now, these have been talked about by a lot of people. But it's like, oh, you can take the tablet with you and play Skyrim, and it's got Wi-Fi. You can do multiplayer.
The tablet is the machine.
Well, right. And I'm not doubting you can do that. But it's like, but is it going to have more than 25 minutes of battery life? Like,
yeah, I mean that's a real, kind of concern about it is the details. I will say watching that trailer I was pretty excited about it though, just from the standpoint of like here's like just in terms of like as a home console. I know they're trying to add a portable mechanic to it, but as a home console I like the idea of having the abilities of the Wii U but not being like constrained to them.
Right.
Like you can do like this can just play games, and if you need something with a touchscreen or whatever, we have that option. And I think that's a really slick solution to it, to a problem of like this is just how Nintendo games are. They like sometimes Nintendo games need to have these features.
Yeah, like I mean something like WarioWare, it can really benefit from a touchscreen because you're doing little like almost mobile game style mini games. But
and I was looking at it like I was watching the trailer and I said like if they can pull this shit off, and make it run smoothly and feels good, like the controller feels okay,
and not be an $800 console too. That's the other thing.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna bring up is like I was thinking $300 to $400, and I was leaning like probably 350 400 region, but according to some rumors, they're not, and these aren't. Nintendo has not even said what's gonna be on the fucking console when it comes out. We just know it won't be Zelda. Zelda's gonna be late. But according to some rumors, they're looking at like $250 for like a base model, and then like $300 for like a deluxe.
Yeah, that would be great. I mean, that's
which is lower than I thought it would be. And with my brother moving, he's taking the Wii U, and so I will need a way to play the new Zelda. So that I'm on board with that.
I saw a lot more people criticizing it, but I was pretty excited about when you have it as just the tablet. You can have that like little flap on the back and stand it up, and then like use the controllers not connected to it. Because one of the things, like if I'm sitting on the couch playing my 3DS, that's great, but like eventually I get sick of looking down at like it hurts your neck and your hands have to stay at it. If I can like actually relax and like play in a comfortable position, that'll be awesome. And
I think I think there are a lot of good ideas to it. I mean, when you only get that fucking brief little trailer, it's like two things about it. It's like, here's what we want it to look like, and here's Mario.
I can already like see the first big like controversy though. They'll be like, it's only 1080p, it's not 4K. It's like, well,
what the fuck ever? Because like from the sounds of it, all these 4K fucking transitions that games are going towards for the PS Pro is it's not always working. Apparently, apparently The Last of Us is struggling to work at that resolution. I don't have a 4K TV, so I really don't give a shit. It
Well, I
took
mean,
me
it's
forever to get a fucking high definition.
yeah. That's the thing is I won't have a 4K TV anytime soon. And somebody had a point. If you have a 4K TV, say you've adopted that, I get wanting 4K games. It's not because necessarily you want to be like the snooty. It has to be 4K. But if you take it, the current 1080p or whatever game and upscale it for 4K, it looks worse. Like you just you want. It's always ideal to play your games or whatever movies at the native resolution of your TV.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I get
like
wanting
I've
it
seen,
if you have that TV, but I'm not gonna buy a 4K TV and a Pro just to play in 4K. Like I don't care.
yeah. I mean, like if there was a, like it's what will happen. It's what
Yeah,
happens to all TVs. Like they go down in price. I will need a new TV, and then like I'm sure I'll have one eventually. But I don't even know if I'll even have a PS4 Pro by then. Like I'm so against the idea of that console. I'm like I really don't like the idea of like incremental changes like
well,
to
if you're gonna do
hardware
that, make your
costing full price.
if you yeah, I was gonna say if you're gonna do that, make your consoles moddable or
Upgradable.
yeah,
Yeah.
modules
Like
so that you can.
yeah, hey, and there's a fucking great idea. If you want to, sort of reclaim some sort of footing against, PC gaming, have upgradable consoles, but have the upgrades be really simple to
Yeah, just
install.
a modular type design where you can just like snap on
Yeah,
a new
like
vid card.
cartridges, a couple cables, which is really what PC upgrading is.
Right.
It's a lot more intimidating because those things are made out of metal and computer
And you have to actually
components.
like open your like they're not snap on. You have to open the box up and there's all
So,
these
yeah,
yeah.
and you have to always
And
push a lot harder than you think you should. Where you shit.
now I'm just like thinking that I think what is it, salt and pepper? The push it real good. Dun,
Which is
dun,
really
dun,
good. Yeah,
dun.
that's the
But
trick to build a
and,
good
and
computer.
we're not saying because it's intimidating. Most of the time, PC building is not as difficult as. But if you've never done it, it's extremely. I mean, it's like anytime I have to do any kind of like small work on my car, I don't want to make it sound like mechanic work because I mean
I
things
just think
like
like
changing the
I'm
light bulb. You open it up and it's like, holy shit, there's a lot of stuff in here.
yeah,
But
and I just sort of I think about like what I had to go through to change the PS4 hard drive, which wasn't that hard to do. Like you slide a bit off the PS4, you like it slides right out. A few screws. Like if they're already seeing like people want the convenience to do that, like it's 2016. I have to believe there's a way we can do these upgrades to make our home consoles better, and then it's just as simple as like click click and you're good. I believe that is
yeah,
possible. And I think it makes these ideas of like hardware upgrades in the middle of a console cycle a little more appealing.
yeah. I mean,
Um,
because right now the option is, hey, I paid full price for this. I can get a chunk of it back by reselling it, but basically I'm being forced to buy a whole second console.
right.
And it's just,
You
that
know,
just doesn't go over well. And the people
yeah,
it
it's
goes
a
over
pain.
the worst with are your best customers, your early adopters. So like
Right.
the last ones that you should want to do anything to piss off. But
Yeah, and even if it's not like outright pissed off, like it's a complete like apathy, like I have, where it's like, yeah, games can look good on it, but I don't have that TV, and I don't give a shit.
yeah,
So is that really what you want? Is that really how you want to do this? It's like to me, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Um, but yeah, I
well,
don't
and that
know.
was
I
the
don't,
other part of that is I saw the Pro. It's because it's not just 4K. It can do HDR, high dynamic, range lighting.
right.
And but that was the other thing I read is like, oh yeah, that it can be really good. I mean, that is something that's great for video. But it only if you have a decent TV that can actually like portray that. And that's what
Right.
I was reading is that they're finding on like most, even on the 4K TVs, on a lot of them, you can't tell the difference anyway. The 4K you can, but not the HDR. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, it just for how minor of a feature as it is, like it just doesn't make sense to me to release a whole another console for that.
And of course,
Um,
as consumers, everything goes through the lens of like your own economic situation. Like, there's people that have enough money that they don't care. They
yeah.
can buy.
Well, fuck them.
But
I'm taking their money.
I tend to put us in more the average category for that. Like, as far as we're both lucky
You,
enough to
well,
not be like homeless,
yeah,
but
you put me in the average category of fucking no money to spare at all.
well, right, which is
Like I
the
have to
average
scrap
American. It's
together
like
to get
right,
money for Owlboy.
but so from like our perspectives, that's a huge purchase decision, and I
Right.
think for most people, $400 or plus is a huge purchase decision.
Yeah. Well, I was even like I was saying like you, and that's what makes the Switch pricing more appealing is like that is a much more even just that like $100 difference of what I thought it would be. Like if that turns out to be the case, like that it makes it like not only do I why like it's a Nintendo system, so I want to get it anyway. But not only do I want to get it, I feel like I can get it a lot. Like I don't have to wait for like wait for like to save up my money or whatever for a huge chunk of time, and then I'll feel comfortable doing that. Like $300, save a little bit over a couple months. Like you can pick that up probably the day it comes out.
Right.
They won't have any in stock, but you could.
I think they'll
Um,
stock it better than the classic, but who knows? It's kind of been their trend lately. But
yeah, that's fucking everywhere, man. It's so hard to get
well,
like systems day one, and when you do, they don't fucking work. Oh,
the thing with the NES Mini Classic or Classic Mini, well, however I call it the Mini, but it's both. Um, a lot of people were pissed because they really didn't send a lot of them out. Most stores had like 5 or 6, I think, was their allotment.
yeah,
The thing with that, it's frustrating. I get it. I get why you'd be pissed off if you're a customer and you want it, but I also get why Nintendo does it. Because from a profitability standpoint, it's way better to underdeliver and then make more and meet demand than it is to pay to produce a shitload of something that doesn't
nobody
sell.
buys it.
Right.
I
And
I understand that.
even if they buy it, the more of them you make, there's all sorts of costs to that: the manufacturing, the shipping, the storing.
Yeah.
They're just playing it safe, and I get that. It's frustrating, but right now, the way Nintendo's been, I'd rather them play it safe and see the company like manage to get another footing and kind of get back up to where they were before, than to see them like take a big gamble on something like the NES Mini and then like. How much would it suck to be like, oh, the Switch and Zelda that you're looking forward to? Well, we had to fucking fold because the Mini flopped and we lost $1 billion.
Right.
Like,
Like I understand that. But like here's what I don't understand is why does that thing exist?
that's what's
Like
funny, and again, to me, that only serves to strengthen like the rationale behind not shipping more. Is if you had asked me, I'm like the worst person in the world to poll on any kind of opinion poll because I'm always wrong about everything, I guess.
I
But
don't think that'll do well. It sells a
right,
million
if Nintendo sent me
first
an
day.
email and they said, hey. If we came out with this system that looks like a really small classic NES and it's got what 300 ROMs on it, I think it is. I forget how many games it is, but they're ROMs basically. They're preloaded, but there's no cartridge slot. It's just whatever games come on them. Would you spend what $100 on it, or 150, whatever it is? I would have
I would
been
be like, sorry, I
nah.
was playing shit on an emulator. What's up?
Right,
Like,
right. Because that's all it really is it's an official Nintendo emulator that's standalone that you
but
plug into a
but
TV.
that's what I don't understand. I feel like it's such a missed opportunity, like to capitalize on the virtual console platform. Like, just make a system that is just for virtual console games, and then like you can download and install different ones as you see fit.
And I think they'd make
But
more money because I would pay $1 to $5 depending on the
yeah,
game for those.
yeah, yeah, because you buy the console and then you're buying games all the time off the
Right.
store. And people will get that like they'll get that experience of like they can get whatever game they want, but they can also play it on that sort of controller, that style of a controller, or they
Well,
can play it on whatever Nintendo controller you want.
and the thing is,
Um,
even if it's a false perception, it's a perception of like openness and like endless possibilities of what games like this. Even though this, from what I looked at it, but it's been a while. But the library on the Mini seemed pretty extensive and pretty good. But at the same time, if I see something like that, say, okay, these are the games that are on it. There'll never be more games than this. You
Right.
know,
I think also that idea would tap into an audience that Nintendo kind of lost. Um, and they're probably not going to get them back. Where it's like, I'm sure there's a sizable group of people who they like all that classic Nintendo shit, but they're like, I don't like around the Wii and stuff. Like they just, GameCube is just like this isn't my type of game. So if you just made a system like, hey, all these games that you remember and love, like you can play them on this thing, and they're like $2 to $5 a game. I'm sure there's stuff that's even more, but
yeah, I mean,
you
it's
can
Nintendo. They would be like $5 to $10 a game, but
sure.
whatever.
And oh, that's Zelda Ocarina of Time. Well, that's 25, even though we made a better version. And
I think I thought the last time I looked at Ocarina of Time on the 3DS, it was still like $40.
um, that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
But also, is that the 3D
yeah,
like
yeah.
remake? Yeah, that makes a little more sense. I'm talking about like doing an N64 virtual console thing.
I didn't realize that they had come out with Ocarina of Time H. Or I don't know, is it out yet or not? But they're doing Ocarina of Time HD, aren't they? I thought I saw a
No,
trailer for it while we were at Best Buy today.
I don't think so. Let me check. Eh, if that's true, then I'm not doing my job as an Ocarina of Time nerd. Because I'm pretty sure,
No, it
like,
doesn't look like.
no, like
there's
people have been doing
texture
shit
packs
with
and
like the
stuff, yeah.
Unreal Engine and
I
stuff.
wonder
Like,
which
this
one
is
I
what an
saw.
Ocarina of Time HD could look like. But they up the visuals for the 3DS version. I would be surprised if
Oh,
Nintendo did any more than
Twilight
that.
Princess is the one that they were. That's what they were showing at Twilight Princess HD.
Oh yeah, and that's already out.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Pretty good game. Pretty good Zelda. Not terrible. Not as great as I remembered.
I didn't get a good impression of it, but I played it on the Wii with the motion
Controller
control.
helps, but there's also. I mean, I used to play that game like once a year, and then like I took like a year off, and then when I played this HD version, I was like, this is not like Wind Waker good. Which surprised me because I was always like that one fucking moron who was always like Twilight Princess is better than Wind Waker. It's like absolutely not. Like Wind Waker's amazing.
I never.
That's another thing
Yeah.
I'm sort of excited for with like the possibilities with the Switch is by keeping that tablet sort of design. There's the possibility they probably won't because video game companies fucking suck and they hate people and they hate fun. But you would theoretically you would be able to keep your digital purchases and play them on the Switch because it would be the same control scheme and stuff. You obviously like they're doing cartridges and stuff, so you can't like your discs wouldn't work.
Right.
But even like digital backwards compatibility, I think should be a fucking no-brainer. Especially with the Wii U. Like do something with those games. You like the Wii U undersold. All right, I get it, but you have great games there that people will want to play. So if you make a system that's like worth a fuck to them, then they can be like, oh, well, I want to play Bayonetta 2, and I never did because I didn't want a Wii U. Or I want to play Mario Kart 8, and, well, they'll probably make a new Mario Kart. But it's just like, I think there's a untapped sort of like, if you could keep selling good Wii U games on the Switch, like, I think that's a great idea.
That brings me to.
So
I was
that's
gonna
probably
say,
why they won't do it.
we've got a couple minutes before we hit our artificial time length, but that brings me to what I was going to ask if you want to make any predictions on what the launch titles for Switch will be. I mean, pretty sure we'll get a Mario.
They said, well, one of the rumors is the Mario game they kind of teased a little bit will be out with the Switch, which would really impress me because you would think we would have seen more before just that little trailer.
Nintendo
That thing's
seems to be
scheduled
the
to be out
only
in March.
Nintendo seems to be the only video game company anymore that can actually keep secrets. Like,
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, look at
Uh,
the Switch stuff. Nothing really leaked about. There was like just vague generalities of what the Switch was that leaked, but
yeah. Like I mean, I'm surprised Zelda is not like you would think they would time the console to come out with Zelda more than anything.
right.
Instead, it's like, well, fuck Zelda. We're releasing this bitch. Um, but
They showed and I don't know if it's going to be a proper sequel or just like a remake or an addition to Splatoon.
yeah,
I could really see that being a launch title because one of the features that they seemed to really want to show off was multiplayer, like online, or it's got local, like wireless,
yeah,
like where if we're sitting on the couch next to each other, we each have a Switch, we can play that way too. And of course, they kind of like tease the like competitive gaming stuff, so I could see they're going to want some kind of strong multiplayer game at launch. Be it that or like
yeah,
a Mario Kart. If it's an entirely new Mario Kart, I don't see that being at launch. But if they do like a Mario Kart 8 Switch version, I could see that.
yeah.
Smash is an
Let's see.
obvious some kind of Smash. Maybe not at launch though.
Yeah, I would. They might just update, the
Probably the
Smash
way
they
that
have
they
on the
handle
Wii U.
right, the way that they handle Smash, I could see it being like a new Smash, but not like Smash like sequel. Like maybe just another new character
I see it just like a straight up port
or
because like that Smash game was just called Super Smash Brothers for the Wii U, so now it'll just be Super Smash Brothers for the Switch.
I still see it getting
Um,
like a new stage or maybe a new character, that kind of
yeah,
stuff. But
I think they'll update it, but I think it'll be that game.
yeah, yeah.
Which is fine because I heard there wasn't really that much wrong with that game. But yeah, it looks like Mario, and the only things people are reasonably sure about is Mario and Skyrim, uh, which is not a great fucking uh, lead up.
Although, I mean, I would
I'm
spend, and
hearing,
especially if it hits for 250, I would spend 250 just to be able to play Skyrim on my couch. Like,
yeah, yeah. I mean, I could play Skyrim on my couch in theory.
well, I mean, like handheld, but yeah,
Yeah.
because I mean, technically, I have it for PlayStation 3. I could put that on my TV, but no, I mean, I guess I should have probably prefaced that by what I mean. And it's like I like to sit on the couch and like play my 3DS while we have the TV on. And if I could play Skyrim instead of Dragon Quest, that would be awesome.
Right. There are rumors that there will be a like Splatoon bundle, which would
Yeah,
have
but
whatever they do with Splatoon in there. But
right, and that's what like I say. I'm not sure if we'll get a new Splatoon, like a Splatoon 2, a Splatoon with the 2 in there. I mean, it writes itself, or if it'll be just like
yeah,
a whatever port. But
yeah. I mean,
although no, I
those are
think it
the
is a sequel
questions.
because didn't they weren't the Squid Kids
They
different?
said they well, they
It,
said they were done with the the thing they were doing, the kind of events they were doing in that game, which kind of kept it going. So
but I mean, from the little bit that they teased, I think they were different, like whole different character models. So that would suggest it's a new game and not like an update. But I don't know.
I
I
mean,
didn't play Splatoon because I don't have a Wii U, so I'm not the best like judge of hey that looks different or that looks new.
yeah, I mean, I don't remember. I played Splatoon, but I really didn't think too much about the character design. So maybe it would be a whole new game. Maybe it's just one of those things like we updated it for the Switch.
The
That would
NBA
be a good
that'll
one
that'll
for
probably
though.
be a launch title too because it's
Yeah. Like my only thing about the Switch that I'm like kind of not cautious about because I think everybody should expect this, but I'm like more annoyed with is all like these quotes from like other game companies like, oh, this is a great system. We're excited to work on it. It's like you guys fucking said that about every Nintendo machine ever.
yeah.
And, like Ubisoft is like, oh man, we can't wait to support this thing. Like, what about how the fucking Wii U work out? You
Well,
assholes. You cut you
and
cut
it's
off and ran, dude.
and
Like
it's
you
fairly obvious, and I'm not saying this is like it's a nefarious thing or they're wrong or they're evil for it, but it's like the whole time it's like we think the Wii U is great, and then he turns and takes the bag of cash from Nintendo for like saying that. I mean,
Yeah, like Zombie U fucked up and then like you got scared and then like fuck, we can't release Rayman like this. And then you put it out on everything. Which is fine. I'm glad everybody got an opportunity to play that game, but fuck dude. Like don't blow smoke up my ass and be like, oh, we're so excited to work on it. Only if it's successful.
Right. Well, I mean, like I said, the full sentence, if you like took away the PR aspect, is we're so excited to be being paid to sponsor this new system,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
And
I
again, I'm
just
not
don't know
saying
why.
that's wrong. I mean, as consumers, we have to kind of understand that that's behind these
Yeah.
decisions. But we did talk about, I didn't love that decision to, oh, this game is done for Wii U, but fuck it, we're going to hold it until we can scramble and get ports because we want to
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, I mean I agree. I think Ubisoft kind of didn't do anything to make themselves look good and all that. Because Zombie U is a weird game to like that was going to be how you test the waters. Like, because like Zombie U, I know some people like it, but that's a very niche game, and like the mechanics of the Wii U pad were so for that game were so like tacked on, and like it's what happens with every like sort of weird hardware thing Nintendo does is like they have to do crazy shit to try to show it off, and it didn't work. So like when that didn't do as well and other games weren't doing as well as everybody probably would have wanted to be like, well, fuck all these people waiting for Rayman, like they're gonna keep waiting, because that was the one game that like that's probably the first game they should have put out for it was Rayman Legends. So yeah.
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 I love when you just leave me hanging.
Yeah.
Like there's no back and forth here. Why do we do a show?
Well, it's funny because I brought up the topic, but it's like I'm the least qualified person to talk about it because I've never had a Wii U, and so I haven't followed all that stuff that much. Raymond did because that was a big story at the time, but
Right.
and it's funny because, like you said, it's like, well, ultimately, it's great it came out to other platforms too. I still didn't play it though. I should.
Well, if they would put it on fucking sale, I would buy it.
Yeah.
Well, it's
doesn't
still $30.
Did they do it on PC? I don't know how many Ubisoft games
Yeah.
they.
Yeah, I have it on my Steam list.
Oh, they do have it through Steam too. I couldn't remember. That was going to be my next question. If Ubisoft has their own, I think they have their own storefront, but I didn't.
Yeah,
know if-
they have the Uplay thing, and
but they don't force you to use it. That's right.
They
Because
don't force you to use it, but they have a cool thing they're doing. Well, they've been doing this year, where every month you would get like a free game from them,
yeah.
and like this month I think it's Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon, which is a pretty good game.
Yeah.
Earlier, like
Is
unfortunately,
there a membership, like a monthly membership for Uplay, or do you just have to sign up for an account?
no, you just have to have an account. Like unfortunately, the past ones you can't get. It was Beyond Good and Evil, Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time, and Rayman Origins. Like Beyond Good and Evil, I tried to play that. It's fucking busted. Like,
Yeah.
I don't. Their PC port of that does not seem very.
I've been
good.
burned too many, and I keep falling for it. But like, and a lot of times it's games that like I bought Jet Set Radio like as soon as it came out with a PC port, like 30 years after it was on Dreamcast or whatever. And it's like, yeah, this game I loved it back then, and it's crap. You can't. It's like unplayable, and it probably isn't that different than what the controls were back then. But it's one of those games that it doesn't age well at all, and then the transition on top of it just.
Yeah,
And they didn't do-
what's frustrating is like because they have to have their own goddamn platform, they can't just have shit go through Steam. Like you don't have access to like that Steam community, which can be like I mean, it could be like any internet community, it could be useless, but sometimes you get like, hey, look, this is how you make the game. You know, it's broken as shit, but you can install these things and it'll make it playable and run okay. And it's like you can't do that on Uplay's thing because there is no like community to it. You go onto their support and like, hey, this doesn't fucking work, and it's like, oh, sorry, there is no Beyond Good and Evil forum because it's old.
But everybody's like, you have to play it. It's like, but I can't.
Yeah, It's like, but this is your fucking free game for this month. What the hell? Um. Anyway, yeah,
Yeah.
that's probably enough for a regular ass show from regular ass
Yes.
Joes.
Why isn't our show called that? Like the regular show, except it's just the regular ass show. And you could parse that like a couple different ways. Like, oh, it's regular ass show or the regular ass show. Like we're just regular asses and we have a show. But
Just
whatever.
straight up regular asses. All right. Yeah. Good fucking bye. Have a good fucking week and good fucking luck.
Yes. Yeah, I was going to say, I said yes, like I was going to add something, but I'm not. I'm going to just cut myself off literally mid sentence here. So that'll be professional.